Mamma mia, sto morendo de caldo, fa caldo.
As Horacio Luangiano used to say, stai morendo. Okay? It's crazy hot. It's been crazy hot, and it's going to get a lot worse this week. Hot, hot, hot.
100 degrees, and we're going to Palermo. It's supposed to be in the high 90s, but we're staying hydrated. Little lemon water and mint. Ching ching, honey.
No alcohol this week. No. This one, we have, what do we have? We have our mint and our lemon, and that's it. Water, that's it.
Yum.
Hope you guys are having a good day today.
Plus, we are who? Esther and Alfred. View me in Sicily. Hope you are having a great day. Buona domenica. The mint stuck in here. The other stuff that's happening, Mount Etna, is blowing again, and some flights have been postponed, delayed, canceled. So lots of stuff happening here in Sicily.
It's been like a big amount of steam and ash coming out of Etna. It looks like she's very angry. Somebody said she was very angry all week. She's been like that. And so if the transmission is a little bit flawed today, it's because of Etna interfering. There's nothing we can do about it. But
so far, so good.
We'll keep on talking quick though.
It's so interesting watching the topography of Etna change, because at one point, up until I was here 6-7 months ago, there was only one area where she was emitting major smoke. Now I like to say she has two boobs.
No, she's what are you gonna do? I mean, that's how it goes. You're in Sicily. Sitting on the deck over here this morning watching the sunrise, I can deal with it. I mean, to be honest with you, there hasn't been any ash on this side.
Yeah, it's good. And tomorrow we're going to Palermo, actually to Alcamo Marina, outside of Castellammare del Golfo, to do our June tour. So we're very excited for that. We're going to go to Palermo, Monreale, San Vito Lo Capo, Sciacca, Segesta, Salami. Where else?
Then I have to come back a day early because I have to meet my cousin. I don't have to meet. I'm dying to meet my cousin's son, Matthew Teresi, who's going to be attending a wedding in Taormina. So I'm going to actually leave Esther one day early and zoom up to Taormina to see her. Then I'm going to come home, wait till she comes home, change our underwear, and then we're going off to Avila for 3 days to scout out a new hotel that we're going to possibly rent, so to speak, for our May tour next year. Yeah. So I'm dying to go to Avila. We have a lot of different places to go to in that vicinity. So this week and next week. And then after that, on the 30th of the month, I'm taking off to the States. I'm going home to the States for 2 weeks to see my family, primarily see my family, my two daughters and my sons and grandkids, of course. But the big thing is my brother Tommy's 70th birthday. Now, you got to ask me, why am I going home? It's because he's having lobsters at his birthday party. I'm going to have about 4, and I might throw a couple in my suitcase too, Bunny. What do you think about that?
You want to talk about this Greek mythology? We have a couple of good stories to tell. You want me to read this?
Sure.
All right. The Strait of Messina, the mythical story of Scylla and Charybdis. I don't think they're Sicilian, though.
They're Greek. They're
Greek.
This is Greek mythology.
From this story, we get this idiom: between a rock and a hard place, and the choice of the lesser of two evils. Being between Scylla and Charybdis, I'm going to write this in the description of this video when we're done, so don't worry. It comes from Greek mythology, which has been associated with the proverbial to choose from lesser of. Whoops. And the story is that they were two mythical sea monsters noted by Homer. Greek mythology cited them on opposite sides of the Strait of Messina between Sicily and Calabria on the Italian mainland. Scylla was rationalized as a rock, described as a 6-headed monster on the Calabrian side of the strait. And the other one, Charybdis, was a whirlpool off the coast of Sicily. They were regarded as maritime hazards located close enough to each other that they posed an huge threat to passing sailors. Avoiding them meant Avoiding Charbides meant passing too close to Scylla and vice versa. Now, according to Homer's account, Odysseus was advised to pass by Scylla and lose only a few sailors rather than risk the loss of his entire ship in the whirlpool. Why, you may ask, are we telling you the story, Alfred?
Well, there's a lot of different things that today is very apt about this. The first thing is where the Tyrrhenian Sea and Sea meet. There's actually a slight difference in millimeters between one sea and the other, and as a result, the current is just unbelievable. Uh, and actually, to be honest with you, Homer was right because of the whirlpool that goes around on the Sicilian side. Hundreds and hundreds of ships, maybe thousands of ships, have been lost over the century. And of course, on the other side, the rocks of Calabria. So, you ever hear this saying, between a rock and a hard place? The Straits of Messina are like that. Now, fast forward to today. They're thinking about putting a bridge. They're thinking about putting a bridge to connect Messina.
We're back.
So how would you like to take a ride on that bridge once it's connected? Not me.
That's a good one. I also like the one of Colapesce. I think we spoke about Colapesce here before. He was Nicola from Messina, right? He was a great swimmer. And the story all right, can you guys leave me a comment? Let me know how this broadcast is going because
Is the
we are
transmission
we
interrupted?
are having a little bit of trouble here. And I think Edna's to blame. Blame Edna for everything.
What are you gonna
Colapesce.
do?
Let me talk about Colapesce. So he was a great swimmer in this area, and Frederick II got word of him and what a good swimmer he was. So he tested him 3 times. Frederick went on a boat, and at one point he threw a cup into the water, and Colapesce, he went in, he rescued it, got the cup. Then he went inward a little bit more, King Frederick, and he threw a crown.
His
Colapesce,
crown. His
his
crown.
crown. Colapesce went and got it because he was so good at navigating the waters. Then he threw a ring. And there's two types of stories that go on here. One is that he never reemerged. And because he saw that at the bottom here, under the sea, Sicily was resting on 3 columns on each coast. And the one over here by Etna was a little bit ruptured. So he decided to save Sicily and hold it up with his 2 hands. The other story goes is that he came back up and told Frederick, "Here is your ring, but you know what? I want to go and save Sicily." So one of them has the story that he reemerged with the ring. The other one is that to this day, Colapesce, because Nicola, the shortened is Colapesce, stands right up here on the shores of Sicily, holding up Sicily. I just love all those Greek myths and legends. There's so many here in Sicily. And I wanted to just say, I saw Dr. Rosemary over here uh, that she's been sending me some great articles about myths, especially Corey. Corey University is over there in Enna. She was a goddess over there. So I've been reading up on that. And one of these future videos will definitely be discussing that. But I love how these stories really are passed down generation to generation.
When I was a kid going into Austin Prep from the 8th grade, and actually every summer after, we used to get a reading list that we had to read 5 books and do 5 book reports. We would have to turn them in. And I remember Greek mythology, that was the name of the book, was one of the first books from the 8th grade going into high school, reading that
Mhm.
book. And all these stories about Greek mythology, and I didn't struggle, but I just enjoyed it. My second year was Plutarch, the lives of the famous Romans. My third year, it was the writings of Saint Augustine. My fourth year, it was I guess we say Horace. It was all these famous old time writers that I'm sure today, I'm not that sure that they do it, that they have those. But I used to be very enamored when I heard stories about what's going off the coast of Messina. I'll tell you one thing though, the current there is real tough.
Yeah, you've gone down
Yeah,
there.
and people actually drown trying to traverse it. And it's not that far either.
Yeah, Frank, they've been talking about a bridge from Messina for over 20 years. And I got to tell you, it comes up time and time again. You guys, I appreciate you sticking with us during this reception where I think
I
what's
want to
good
ask
right
Hal's
now.
question.
And I want to say before you do that thank you. I saw some of you guys wish me a happy birthday tomorrow. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Al asked me about Amalfi lemons. I haven't a clue where the kind of lemons we have, what kind of varietals we have over there.
We have the ones from here.
Yeah, it's Sicilian lemons.
Sicilian
Amalfi,
lemons.
as like in the Amalfi Coast. Why the hell would a Sicilian eat an Amalfi lemon when we have our own here?
Yeah,
Honestly.
they grow very
right now there's a
abundantly.
plethora of lemons. There's a bazillion lemons, as is there are a lot of fruit. She said that today the watermelons finally have been going on sale, and that Vanessa bought one, right?
Yeah, she bought a
Delicious.
beautiful big one. The other thing that is going on, I don't know if you guys saw the last broadcast of Wednesday. I talked about our friend Eduardo, 20 years old, who was knighted 2 days ago, the youngest Italian knight. Now, someone asked me, how do you become a knight in Italy? And I have to still look into it. But he does a lot of volunteer work. And during the commemoration and during the day that he was knighted in downtown Catania, they recognize all the volunteer work that he does. So, as I said before, it's such a beautiful thing to see a 20-year-old Sicilian really pushing through. He works for his father as a waiter in the little cafe over here, and he volunteers for the Civil Protection Agency, and he's going to University of Catania, and he's running for councillor of Acicatena, which brings me to the next topic. It's election time here in Sicily. There hasn't been an election in over 2 years. And it's so interesting watching the candidates stop in, places like Francesco's and Eduardo's, and they're standing there with the big posters and they're buying everyone coffee and they're talking and it's pictures taking. So, just like in the United States. Elections here.
Do you remember when you were a kid in the States, one of the commercials was for a perfume. It was called Arpege. And it was a really handsome guy and a really beautiful woman. And the guy would be, with his sexy voice, would be saying, promise her anything, but give her Arpege. Okay. Listening to these freaking politicians over here, I'm thinking about that, because how it is in reality is they've promised me everything, but all I have is a stinking bottle of Arpege. These guys are relentless, okay? There's no difference between the politicians here and the politicians in the United States. It's the same type, especially the amount of kiss-assing that goes on during elections, okay? It's sickening.
Kiss-assing.
And it is freaking posters
and they're going
all
around on
over
the
the
truck,
place.
in the
With
truck
with the
loudspeaker with the bullhorn. It's so funny. Dr.
crazy.
Rosemary, you're streaming between the Rock, Etna, and the Hard Place Theater.
Yeah.
That's funny. So that's very interesting. And it's interesting to watch some of the issues that come up on the posters. For instance, violence against women, jobs come up all the time, and the economy. Trash even is an election issue, and it should be. Infrastructure is a big one. This guy Russo over here is always talking about, we need better roads, we need to pave them better, we need more sidewalks, and he's so right. So those are some of the election issues. Economy is forefront, of course.
Promise them anything, but just give them a bottle of Arpege, because jack shit gets done in this country. Zero, okay? These guys have no power. For Christ's sake, the potholes are just ridiculous.
Yeah, they've
going
gotten
back
worse.
years, okay? And I mean, I don't know how, that's one of the things that bother me. How these kids with these motorcycles, and these Vespas, how can they drive on these mountain roads at nighttime
No, it's very
when
dangerous.
it's dark out and you can't even see a pothole, right? I think that's the reason why there's a lot of accidents up here, not only here, but in Sicily in general. And don't think that the Sicilians are any better driver than the Americans, because they're not. They just go
They're just-
faster and they honk their horns a lot more.
Someone had this description of a Sicilian driver compared to a New York driver. A New York driver will come out around a corner, look, and then go. He doesn't care if you're coming. A Sicilian will come around the corner, go, and then look.
Pretty much. And everybody leans on their horns over here. I mean, literally leans on their horns all the time.
I like
Crazy.
it here.
There's not very much road rage. I mean, every once in a while, maybe you'll get to read a story about road rage, but not nearly. They just flip you off, call you, something bad in Italian or Sicilian.
Actually, I found that they're not that heavy on the horn in this area.
They're not?
They just go. Right.
No, I am. I'll put it to you that way.
You are.
I am.
Frank wants to know, do you have any comments on the economy in Italy? I remember being in Sicily when the euro took place of the lira and prices doubled.
Want me to hear
What?
that?
Yeah, of course.
The economy here right now is, what it feels like to me, like in the city of Lawrence. It felt like the drug dealers when they come up and they give out a package of cocaine to some of the kids for like $2, and then the next month it's $2, then it's $2, then it's $2, and then pretty much the kids are addicted. That's what's happening with the European Union. The European Union is giving a lot of do-re-mi money to Sicily. Okay, we have this thing called citizens' income, which is a good thing in theory. I guess you could say it's the rough equivalent of welfare, because the Italian government never gave anything for people for welfare. But now what's happening is that the Sicilians have grotesquely abused the program. Every day of the week, we read stories about the financial police closing down restaurants because their workers are on social income. That means, and they're working under the table in the black. And in many cases, some of these restaurants and so forth don't even have VAT numbers. In other words, they're not registered. Okay, and they do other things that I don't even know if they do this in the United States. A lot of places over here, those little trucks that you see that sells like hamburgers and sandwiches at nighttime. These guys, they just hook up to the electric pole and they run their lights off of these things. And it's just one problem after another. Now, that said.
Well, wait a second. I just read, talking about the economy, that southern Italy has about 500,000, I believe that number, I may be off, number of unemployed between the ages of 15 and 70, which is larger than the entire country of Germany.
Could be. It could be.
The unemployment in southern Italy is one of the highest in all of Europe.
And the sad part about it is that as a population, the Sicilians and the Italians in general are better educated than the Americans. Okay, there is for example, the University of Catania it's a huge university, and it's an exam university. It's very tough to get into. Okay, so kids are graduating, but there's no, for example, the defense industry. Just to give you a quick, for instance, right? There's no Raytheon here, or Pratt & Whitney, or Sikorsky, or there's very little medical instrumentation places like you have, very little high-tech stuff. So these kids, they graduate, and there's nothing for them to do. It's like I've said this a bazillion times, except
go up north.
Go up north or go to another European Union country. So, I mean, that's what the problem is. Is it going to get better? It may get better, because we've got heroes like Rosario Faraci, Professor Faraci, who has started they have a very successful internet incubation programs now at the university and startups, University of Catania. People are doing the same thing in Palermo. They're doing the same thing in Palermo.
So there are pockets
of
people. So I think the main point is that I think it's true in any country that if you leave it to the government to get things done, it doesn't. The private private companies, the private startups, the private initiatives are the ones that get it done. And, I've said this before, but I'm so proud to be part of the Sicilian Project, which is our nonprofit, because in our small, small way, we try to get things done. We try to educate Sicilians free for them, English, just to help them, put them over the edge just a little bit to help their future. We've talked about this many times as well, that uh, the wisdom of the Italian government a few years ago cut the hours of English languages down from like 5 to 2. And trust me that all my friends around here who have kids say to me, it's a big problem. And finding teachers that speak English as a mother language is also increasingly difficult. So it's definitely one of the things that I'm very proud of with the Sicilian Project that we have going on, helping in our little ways, giving back really to Sicily.
Sicily is the poorest of all the provinces. Everybody knows that. Okay. But what bothers me and has bothered me forever is the amount of bias that is existing from Northerners to Sicilians, and not only to Sicilians, but Calabrians as well. Anybody, I guess you could say, south of Rome. That area, by the way, is called the Mezzogiorno. South of Rome, there's institutional bias. Okay, you could see it; it's evident all over the place, and until that changes, I don't even know if it could change.
It's a mentality, Al.
Well,
it's a set mentality. I have a friend before I came
yeah,
here.
it is a mentality.
Her family is from Calabria, Deborah. And when I said to her, I'm going to Sicily, she said, well, she's from Calabria. She said, my family, my father always, when the word Sicily came up, she said, he spit those. That's something that she grew up with, that type of a stereotype. It's very sad.
Not only that, I mean, listen, it's just Calabria is one issue over there. Calabria is dirt poor, okay? I mean, dirt poor. But they're doing something too. I see a little bit of, a lot of these resorts now are springing back to life. See, that was the other problem, is tourism was on its knees.
Yeah.
Thanks to COVID, it was on its knees. And I'm really annoyed and saddened when I go up to Taormina and some of these other places and see some of our favorite places that aren't there anymore. But
because
fortunately,
they couldn't make it.
But fortunately, other
Places.
people are,
I have to tell you, Sicilians are very innovative. One
survivors.
thing closes, a new thing opens.
That's right.
And they are survivors. That's for sure. Or they'll find a way around it. Let me just say hello to B and Don Green, who will be joining us in just a couple of days. Can't wait to see them in Palermo.
B,
Let me
bring your bikini. It's hot. I'm telling you right now. I'm not bringing any pants. I'm just bringing shorts.
This is a good question, Linda. Based on the economy, is Sicily most cost-effective to live in than maybe Calabria?
If you have half a brain, all right, there's two different type of people over here. There's some people who are retirees. Okay, let me give you a short answer for retirees. Provided that you can get the appropriate visas or residency permits or whatever it is you need, you can live, if you live modestly, you can live like a king and a queen here on about 35,000 to 40,000 US dollars a year. Translates someplace between 33 to 38,000 euro. You could have a nice place to live in a nice area, etc.
And eat well.
If you're going to be a digital nomad, and by the way, the Italian government now is working on reforming some visa stuff. It's going to take a while, where digital nomads will be able to get a visa to come here. Okay. But if you're thinking of coming here, and unless you have a profoundly important skill, and teaching English is not a skill that's going to get you rich. Okay. Teaching language will get you a job, but it'll be at the lower portion of your income ladder. And it's certainly not enough for a young family to survive working, or even in the tourist industry. Frankly, the tourist industry is seasonal, only 4 or 5 months a year. So unless you have, like what I said to you before, save your dough. Cash is king in the States, and then come over here. That's what you have to do.
Let me just address this, Frank. A lot of young people go to Germany for
Yep,
work. Yes,
yep.
they do. And let me tell you that I have two friends specifically that over the years have gone to Germany. They don't know each other. One of them is the owner of our gym, Gianmarco, and he was just very frustrated. He's the owner of a gym and still not able to make ends meet, not married, living with his mom and dad, so he didn't have rent. And he was so frustrated. He said, I just need to improve my future. I need to take things under my own hand. I'm going to go to Germany. He got a job at a gym. He's also a martial arts um, master. So we kept in touch, obviously, and talked. And I could tell increasingly that his mood, that his tone was not as happy, always smiling, always upbeat, which he is an upbeat person. And after 2 months, he decided to come home. Why? First of all, the money was great. He said he was making about 2 to 3 times what he was making here at the gym. Number two, the atmosphere was cold. And I'm talking not just because he was there in the winter and was colder and he wasn't used to that type of a cold,
Yeah.
but the people were not warm. He just missed going to shops, going to places, and going with family, people smiling and people upbeat. Sicily is an island, and that is typical to a lot of islands. He also said he missed the foods. There were just things that he just couldn't eat. He missed the fresh fish and all that. Of course, he missed his family and friends. And then after 2 months, he just said, you know what? I basically just miss Sicily. And he came home.
But
And
that,
he came home.
yeah.
And I got to tell you, Katya is another story. Katya, our friend Katya, who Alfred has known for a long, long time, your Sicilian daughter, has over the years gone and tried a few years here and there to go to work. She's gone to Africa, she's gone to England, she's gone here and there. You know what she says? She says, Mama Etna calls me back. I need to come back to my Sicily.
Unless the vast majority of Sicilians who leave Sicily end up coming back,
Yeah.
unless they marry in that host country, then you lose them. Okay, but the vast majority of them coming back, but they come back to an impoverished way of living versus in, uh, say, for example, Holland or you know Germany or France or some of these other uh, economically advantaged countries. But it comes really, why is Italy like that? Well, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, I can spend a whole program telling you why Italy is like that and why it's not a leader. But in the international marketplace, the major reason is because it's not a bilingual country. Italy, Spain, and Greece are the three laggards in terms
And
of being
especially in Sicily.
and being non-bilingual, and Sicily is the worst of the lots. I'd say probably tied with Calabria, the worst of the lots for bilingual. Okay, the teachers, not all of them, and I'm just saying as a general rule, it's inferior scholastic work, usually caused by budgetary cutbacks. And that's one of the programs that they
And
eliminated
also,
or
Alfred,
whatever.
there's a very, very strong high focus on grammatics, on grammar,
Grammar, yeah.
on grammar. That's not going to help you in the workplace. Speaking English is actually someone here, one of the companies outside of Catania, asked me to go and teach a few hours.
Yeah.
I couldn't because I don't have the time to do it. But companies are looking to train their employees English, so it is a big thing, and they are aware of it, which is good. Let me just
I have to just
wait,
tell
wait.
you one story
Okay.
before you continue, right? Last year, I was asked by the regional Sicilian, whatever the hell it's called over here, to give a class on business law to a group of Sicilians. Business law, right? The guy who's been practicing law for over 33 years now, over 25 in law schools, okay? So I sent him my resume, and the guy said to me, some freaking bureaucrat said to me, this resume is in English. You need to get it translated. Then you have to send it to this company in Milan that's going to take your courses that you took, and then they got to translate them into equivalent European courses. And I said to the guy, listen, I've trained 8,000 American lawyers. Either you take me or stick your job up your ass, which is exactly what I said to him, right? And people, successful people, and I consider myself to be professionally successful. Professionally successful people do not go through that type of scrutiny in the United States of America. In the United States of America, if you've made your bones in your profession and people know of you and know of your accomplishments, colleges there and universities there compete for your services. They don't stick you into the morass of red tape, bureaucratic red tape like it is here in Italy. But then again, everything is red tape.
Dolores says, when I moved into my house in Acciaierie, my neighbor came over and asked if my friend thought coming to Sicily was a good idea for a single woman. I said they seemed fixated on the idea of the mafia. That's very unfortunate. Let me see here. This is a very interesting piece of news that I've never heard. Have you heard any news of Pope Francis is going to step down? Happy birthday, Esther. Hope you have a delicious cake to celebrate. Thank you. I have not heard, and I don't think we can comment because we don't know.
I know he's had a bad leg and he needs assistance. If he does, he does. But who the heck knows? I mean, the politics that's ripping up America is also ripping up Italy. The tension between the left and the right, the political narratives are pushed there as they are here.
For sure.
But believe it or not, the narratives and the conflicts that are going within the walls of the Vatican are just as intense.
Well, they have been for years, Al.
Right. Now, well, you've got more liberal philosophies that come primarily from Africa and from South America versus the stridently conservative policies of the older cardinals, so to speak, in Italy, Italian cardinals. And also, by the way, the French cardinals, they're just as bad.
Peter, this is a good question. With so much local produce available in Sicily, do urban dwellers still grow their own tomatoes, even on a patio, balcony, and container? Yes, for sure. In fact, Peter Scapoletti, in our area over here, there's a bunch of local fruit and vegetable shops. There's the Four Corners, Reitana, where behind the shops are the farms where they actually go in the back and pick them. Today, I got a beautiful head of lettuce, and the guy just picked it out of the ground, so you have to cut the soil off of it. So it's that local. And in spite of that, or in addition to that, I was at my friend Vanessa's today. She's got a beautiful garden growing. She's got tomatoes, she's got basil, she's got mint, she's got zucchinis. She has a fig tree. What else did she plant this year? She planted out 2 or 3 varietals of lettuce as well. Inherently, Sicilians, and I think Sicilian Americans, have a green thumb. For sure, it's a big thing.
But the green thumb, they're like one-trick ponies. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. See, that's the problem with this Sicilian mentality. They don't outside the box thinking. I'm going to give you a good example. I was going for a ride into the plains of Catania to get my car serviced, which is a beautiful area, vast area, vegetation and stuff. And there's a lot of fields there that aren't being used. I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of acres. Now, everybody knows that there's a wheat shortage, okay, because of Ukraine. Everybody knows that wheat can come up relatively quickly. It's not a high maintenance thing. Why aren't these fields here in Sicily being used to feed the local population?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
Actually, that was in the paper today. First of all, in the province of Enna, it is one of the major sources of wheat for Sicily. And actually, they were talking about Sicily being the breadbasket for Europe again, and how can that happen? And they are talking about making other investments into farmers, and in fact, making Sicily
It's a no-brainer to me.
wheat free from other places. And today we were talking about that. I was shocked at the cost of pasta today. Here you can get pasta from 80 cents to a dollar, sometimes even 70 cents to a dollar.
For
Now,
kilo.
For a kilo, for 2.2
2.2
pounds. Now it's €1 is the cheapest. They go up to 145, even 165. But it is one of the things, and I don't think it's just a political discourse, because you're right. There are tons of tons of open fields here. But in Enna, Alfred, as you know, that is one of the biggest producers of wheat in the island of Sicily. The issues that were brought up, and this is a very good point, is that the water shortage, because drought is a real issue here in Sicily. We had periods of unbelievable rain last October, but now it hasn't rained for several months. And so, how do you irrigate? How do you keep these fields hydrated? So, it's definitely something that they're talking about.
Let me answer that question.
Which question?
The water shortage,
yeah,
and the garbage crisis that we had,
that we have,
that we ongoing here. Okay, but let's talk about both of them together. Okay, it's complete lack of political will to solve both those problems. Okay, Italy is an island surrounded by water. Okay, a desalinization plant, 3 of them, probably with an investment of 16 to 20 billion dollars, all right, would satisfy and turn Sicily into the Mediterranean equivalent of the Amazon forest, so to speak. Okay, now you take that 20 billion and you amortize it over 25 or 30 years. Those plants last for a long time, and then you say to yourself, okay, for 2 billion a year that the government's going to have to pay back in a bond, in an investment bond, why the hell hasn't that been done? That's number one. Number two, garbage. I railed on my Facebook page against Musumeci, who pretty much is a knee-jerk reactor. In other words, when something craps the bed, then he's doing something about it, but not until there. We've known that the landfill in Lentini is full, but those guys in Lentini are not stupid. They hold up the province for more do, re, mi, and what they do is they shut it down. So for the last 10 days, the garbage was piling up throughout the entire province until finally
you wrote a scathing article and you changed it. Vote for Alfred for president of the region.
Why? I want to know something, right? With Mount Etna up here, right, that has lava that burns the shit out of things, right? That there's a huge place like the Grand Canyon over there. Why isn't the garbage put there? And then the last thing I want you to know
Well,
about,
before you go on with the garbage, excuse me,
deposits
on plastic.
On plastic.
But listen,
everything is plastic
but
here.
Listen, on that issue, you go to one of those fruit and vegetable places, you buy 5 apples, they put them in a paper bag. You buy tomatoes, they put them in a paper bag. They put everything in a paper bag, then put it in a plastic bag. You go to the Lido's or you go to one of these outdoor places, everything is served in plastic. You go out to some of the beaches and some of the bars over there, everything paper and plastic everywhere, even though the European Union passed a resolution last year or 2 years ago saying that all plastic should be eliminated in EU countries by 2025, and each country should be making an effort to get rid of it. So it's a very big. This is a really interesting question. Sure. How hard is it to find American baseball game on TV in Sicily? It doesn't exist.
Well, yeah, but
do the restaurants?
That's the correct answer. Baseball is vibrant in Sicily.
Baseball?
As a matter of fact, the Paterno Red Sox, which is a AAA equivalent, professional team is Italian champions.
But
She
not on
doesn't know
TV.
baseball,
Not on
but
TV. They have it
it's on
online.
streaming.
Online.
On
That's what I'm
streaming, you
saying.
can get
Yeah.
it for free.
Of course.
Streaming. You're not going to get the Red Sox or the Yankees.
Red Sox and versus Yankees on TV here.
Unless you go MajorLeagueBaseball.com, you can get it there.
And how do you get your
NFL,
football?
I get NFL.com. It costs me $290 a year for, I don't know, 10,000 million games. You can get NBA.com, NHL.com. You know, I mean, each one of these, that's how it's going now.
Yeah.
But we don't have a TV. So
Right.
when we want to do something, then that's how we do it.
That's right. I was shocked about how many people eat all the plastics. I know it's a huge problem.
Dolores is nuts.
And I've already started, you know, I always take a reusable bag with me to the markets. And I always tell people when they come to Sicily, bring a reusable bag when you go out doing your little shopping, because it's nuts. James, the difference in places like Valley of Temples and others are very noticeable. Handicap access, cleanliness guides have greatly improved compared to the 90s just last year. So can I just say something about that? You know, obviously the big touristy places, they're going to clean up. I still remember during the G7 when we had all the leaders here in 2017, they went on a massive cleanup of Catania, massive cleanup of Syracuse. You know, it was like visible everywhere, of course, because they wanted to show Bella Figura, right? Bella Figura about Sicily. But I have seen an improvement in some places when it comes to trash, not all places. As for handicap accessible, it's still a huge problem, but a lot of hotels are now putting them in. They realize that even the supermarket Pagi Poco put in a handicap accessible rail. So it is something
handicap accessible.
Accessible. They even have a handicap accessible parking, and they have a handicap accessible.
But the issue is the bathrooms. They don't do
problem.
Crap. They don't do crap about handicap accessible bathrooms in restaurants. Jesus Christ! You see one bathroom with no toilet seat, right? I don't know how somebody with a wheelchair can possibly negotiate that. The hotel in Rome that we stay at, I could even say the name, the Hotel Alexandria. I love that place. But in order to get there to the hotel, you have to walk up, I think, 20 or 30 steps. And I always say to Esther, right off the bat, somebody who's handicapped cannot negotiate.
They have an elevator.
I've never seen an elevator there.
There's an elevator.
They have an elevator?
They have an elevator.
But it's crazy, though. I mean,
it's one of those old little elevators. The one that are from the 1970s,
no. From the reception
80s.
room, from the reception area up, you have the elevator. But to get there, and that's not just that place. There's scores and scores and scores of nice places that aren't up to code, U.S. code, where it really should be. Because let's not forget one thing, okay? American tourists flock to Italy. Okay, American tourists spend a lot of do-re-mi, and guess what? Some of these tour companies, these big tour operators, they're bringing a lot of senior citizens. And I don't think it's nice that when a person is coming here, they're in a hotel or whatever that is, just doesn't have the amenities, so to speak, that Americans by law, right?
Yeah.
By law have. Okay. So
Can I just say something
to
some of the viewers here? Please, 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 no politics here. No politics. Not you. No politics, please.
Who's talking politics? Frank. Yeah, that's a good answer.
I really miss ADA, help for the disabled, when I am in Sicily. And that's one of the things that's so interesting, that it is not one of the big political things. It's not something that you see people pushing and, fighting for the rights of disabled. It's definitely an issue. It's come a long way, though, really a long way. Like I said before, especially with the sidewalks, going back to infrastructure. When I first came here, walking from our place up to the hotel, no sidewalks. It took like 3 or 4 years till 2017, probably 2017, my third year, that they put the sidewalks here. So, And now they have to redo all the roads. They were talking about that here because of all the potholes, because Etna erupting all the time with minor earthquakes. And so all the roads are destroyed. And it's so interesting today. I go to a little chapel uh, very near our hotel and very near our house. It's walkable there. And to get there are these little, small, quaint streets, cobblestone streets. Guess what? Those cobblestone streets have been there for over 200 years and they haven't had to be repaved. Ancient ingenuity, I tell you, ancient ingenuity. But literally going to church, cobblestone, then you go out to the main street and they're all potholes everywhere.
Dr. Rosemary says, preach, Alfred, preach. It's actually, Rosemary, it's not that I preach. It's basically, you see, I'm afflicted with a curse, and it's called common sense. All right? I mean, I'm a businessman. And let me tell you something. If it was 25 years ago, and I found this country 25 years ago, I'd be a bazillionaire. Because the problem here with the Sicilian people, there's a helicopter going by. The problem here with the Sicilian people is they have it all gift wrapped and handed to them because of the oppressive employment laws where you cannot get fired, so to speak, for incompetence. You really can't. And once you get that contract, that employment contract, you're pretty much there for life, or unless the company goes out of business. So as a result, all these companies that you see go out of business, the vast reason, the number one reason, is incompetence. Incompetence.
Let me, Frank, when in Sicily, drink Bona Soda, his family.
What's that?
His family.
Oh,
Bona Soda, his family in Augusta, right, Frank? They export all over the place. Bona Soda, very good Sicilian soda with all types of flavors, lemon, orange. What else, Frank? There's a little commercial for your family. How's that? I want to say, wait, I want to say what I'm going to, no, I want to, before you go there. The woman, Lucia, who does our pedicures, manicures, and massages, was over here. And I was talking to her because she not only does private homes, she also works in some of the hotels. And she was working at the Sheraton over here, outside of Achi Castello for a few months. And I said, "Are you still at Sheraton?" She said, "Esther, how can I afford to work there?" What happened at the Sheraton is that the guests come and they pay 80, 90 euro for a 1 hour massage. She gets €8. And she's under contract. So how can they pull that? How can people live? How could, paying for gas to go over there for 1 hour, she gets €8. So it's a very state of affairs. And I don't know how the laws encompassing minimum wage or, contracts are here, but it is definitely a big problem.
This is what I've been saying for years, and even to you folks, okay? It depends on why you want to move to Sicily or move to Italy, okay? If you want to move here because you've got a few bucks saved up that's coming in from the United States, and you pick your shots, believe me when I tell you it's paradise, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I piss and moan about a lot of stuff, but guess what? I wouldn't go anyplace else than Sicily. I have to. She says the same thing every day.
When I wait out.
But if I'm 35 years old and trying to bring up 3 children, little kids, like the people next door, she has 3 little kids going on 4. She's pregnant again, and there's only one paycheck coming in with the husband. I don't know how they do it unless they have to resort to
family money or
something.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
In fact, I've been thinking a lot about this, the poverty level here in Sicily and how are families able to survive with these tremendous price increases across the board, not only in gasoline, just like wherever you are. I know in the United States and Canada, everywhere, wherever you're watching, I know that the global prices have gone up. But for Sicilians, how could everyday people, the farmers, survive in these prices. It's really, and we've often talked about Sicilians being survivors, and they'll find the way. But I have been thinking really, really a lot about this issue. Um, Let me read this.
Go ahead.
Hey, all. When my friend from North Milan says the poor South take the North's taxpayer money, I tell her old news. Also, we have an active volcano here. Residents might need help.
Listen, Nancy, here's what you want to tell them, okay? Say, you know the gas that you put in your car and the oil that you heat in your car? That comes off the coast of Augusta. It goes into a ship after it's pulled up. That beautiful asset is pulled up out of the Sicilian Sea and shipped up there, and you folks have it. And then when we get it, the price is quadrupled.
Lukoil,
Okay.
right? What is it called?
No, that's Russian. I'm talking about the systematic ripoff of the Sicilian economy by the Northerners. Why do I say the Northerners? Because the Northerners have the cashola, and they own things here, including these companies that pay people at a poverty wage, bare subsistence wage. Look up to Milano. You think they have those problems over there? Or Venice, or Florence, or Trentino, or anything up way up in Alpine Gaul by the Austrian or German or French border? They don't have these problems. We have these problems. We have these problems because our DNA pool is profoundly different than the Northerners. You want to call a spade, so to speak? It's nothing. It's nothing else but institutional racism and institutional cultural bias that's gone on for centuries. End of sentence. Now, I can talk to anybody, and I'm not a flaming liberal either, believe me. I'm the opposite of a flaming liberal. But this is what the story is in Italy, okay? That's how I have to tell it.
No politics.
That isn't politics.
Can
Is
you
that
tell
politics?
me a bit about Messina? Is a good choice for international students?
Yeah, Messina is a beautiful. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, that whole
And that
area up
area,
there is gorgeous,
Messina,
man.
there's also the University of Catania, there's also the University of Palermo, University of Cori and Enna, of course, lots of them. So this is interesting. Hey, say move back and we can rebuild Sicily, but seems out of whack. They do need tourist money. Let me tell you
Hey,
that.
say move back. What does that say? I don't
Move
understand.
back and we can rebuild Sicily, but seems out of whack.
No, it's got to be done with American ingenuity and know-how. There are double the amount of Sicilian Americans in the United States, over 12 million of them. Double the amount. Probably has 40 times as much money as the 5.5 million people here. But what do they do? And especially when I'm on Facebook where I want to vomit, that they're nothing but cannoli eaters. They have their sashes on and they talk about this and they march in a parade. But guess what? They don't do jack shit for this country. And I'm not only talking about Sicily, I'm talking about Italy. Very little.
Well, I would say a lot of our fans here, I know for a fact, are not like that. A lot of the people watching here,
That's why they're our fans. That's why, because they
uh,
know when I'm saying it. Listen,
Tony
Esther,
says 100% true, Alfred. Could never imagine the opportunities I found in the United States and ability to raise a family versus Sicily. But when I retire, I'll be back. If not
you
Sicily,
have
maybe
to make your
Abruzzo.
money in the United States and bring it here. And I'm telling you, it's 35% of what it costs for you in your retirement age to live here than in the United States. Okay? We don't have $300 gas bills. We don't have huge bills like you people have. You can rent a house over here, including all utilities, for $1,000 a month, US dollars a month. Family of two, like Esther and I, maybe 150 bucks a week for food. And believe me, we eat good and we drink good too. So, yes, of course it could be done. And there is a vibrant expat community
Very vibrant, yeah.
who kind of like, they know it, but they didn't come here seeking their fortune. That's what I wanted to say about that.
In the next 10 years, Italy is going to change with all the people going there and bringing their money and real estate going to go up. Life in Florida and then some. I like that name.
What's that?
I am very
I-
interested in, I have seen a humongous increase of expats in Sicily. I don't know about other parts, although there is a woman, Jim, what's the name of that woman that does the new homes and new property, and she's always featuring someone in another region. But it has been remarkable how many expats are here in Sicily. And you know what? I hope that is true. The problem is that I hope, a lot of places, they're very, very concentrated with Americans or the British and so forth. Then you're not really, here in Sicily or among other people. So that's an interesting point. And I know that's a problem in that other region that woman is going to
Dr.
do.
Rosemary is correct. What Rosemary is doing, investing in education,
Yeah.
in my opinion, singularly, if you have an educated population that's bilingual, it'll be a matter of time before they will bootstrap themselves up.
Yeah.
Okay.
She did a
Simple.
great job
It's
with
simple. What
South
she's
Florida
done,
University
and she's also
and
now
Corey
involved
University.
with the Sicilian project. We've got
Yeah.
heroes helping us out up
Yeah.
and down the road over here. So I mean, it can be done, guys. There's no
Yeah, the
question.
super savvy traveler. There are a lot of people up there, and she shows properties and homes and so forth for sale or rebuilding or so forth. And there's a huge, huge community of Americans up there. I like to be over here. There's some expats around us, but I like to be with the Sicilians. So it's very cool.
Okay, a couple
Yeah.
more questions. Yes.
So back to what Dr. Rosemary is doing, and that is so beautiful because it's a collaboration where it's helping the nursing students in Corey University, an independent university in the province, in Enna, actually. All right.
Catania needs a soccer team.
Oh, come on.
You know anybody that's got like $20
Who
million
wants to buy one?
buy a professional soccer team? It has killed the spirit of Catania.
I miss their
Okay.
soccer.
There is no, people are walking around heartbroken.
Okay.
Okay. And I happen to know a couple of billionaires in the United States of America that all they have to do is just snap their
there's
fingers.
other things to invest in than a soccer
Why?
team. That's just my own opinion.
It's
All right.
the heartbeat of a society. You don't understand sports. It's a heartbeat of a society.
I don't understand sports.
Well,
Being an athlete my whole life.
Yeah, but not
Okay,
not
honey.
a fan or whatever.
On that note, hey, if you guys have stuck around
Thank
for
God
the
we had
whole
better
hour,
reception.
thank you so much. We were having a little bit of trouble in the beginning. What a great day. Hey, before we go, I want to show you this view. We want you to come and join us here one day. Beautiful Sicily. And come have a glass of vino or a glass of water or something here with us.
Glass of water, Esther?
Glass of water in this heat. That's the best. Let me tell you.
Oh, what
Thank
about
you
Wednesday's
so much.
program? Are we
What
gonna
about
go
Wednesday?
live? Are we gonna go live from?
Yeah, probably. I'm going to be in Palermo and
So we are going live
Montreal,
Wednesday.
and I'm going to run home and go live, or try to. On that note, thank you so much for your support, for being here. Want to say goodbye or read the comments?
I love each and every one of you.
No, we really do appreciate you being here.
After these programs are over, I get maybe 20 emails from folks. About half of them I don't know about, but I just want to make you think. Okay.
Yeah.
Sicily's a beautiful place, no question about it. But it's not it's you have to love it, warts and all. But what we really need is folks here that have a brain that want to do something about bootstrapping this country. That's what we really need more than anything else. So that's what I want to say. And Sub Benedica.
Thank you for watching.
Ciao.
Ciao.